Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Coco, and you are watching and hopefully listening to ChatterBox Podcast. And I am here with Rico.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Very appreciative to be out here.
Yes. Okay, so I like to start off with, like little kind of whatever questions just to get warmed up for the interview. So the first question is, what are you listening to right now?
I'm listening to a lot of '90s hip hop. Honestly, I'm not listening to anything current because current music isn't inspiration, right? Isn't inspirational right now. It's very redundant. So I'm listening to a lot of old stuff.
Yeah, I feel it. I've been listening to a lot of 90s R&B because I feel like it's going to help me be a better woman. I know I'm so serious. Like, I'm so serious. So I'm with you with that one. All right. What have you been reading? Have you been reading anything?
Um, can I lie because it's a podcast? I haven't read nothing. I need to read something. The last thing I read though was it was good on paper and Supreme Copies. It's this Instagram page that does a book every so many months of all the things Supreme has got his inspiration from, and then the most provocative skateboard decks because that was really inspiring. Like it's some wild skateboard decks that have come out, and like the marketing behind them really skyrocketed a lot of businesses and brands. So those are my last three books I've like officially read, but like in the last month or two, because I was over the summer. I'll be honest, you guys, I haven't read anything.
Man, look, it's hard though. You got to sit down in one place to read. It's rough. Okay, so you talked about podcasts. What other ones have you been listening to? Like, what podcasts have you listened to?
I listen to ChatterBox podcast because it's the best.
Yeah, last season, 3 whole episodes. Like, we out here.
The best, you hear me? I'm listening to Drink Champs. I love Drink Champs. I love to listen to the OGs talk. And I listen to Second Childhood. I got the opportunity to be on that one, too, so I got to listen to that. And it's one more. I can't think of the name. They was telling a story, and I'm actually behind on it. It's like somebody else was telling me that, what's my guy that played Wood Harris? Wood Harris and a few other people are voicing a story that's happening in the Bronzeville community.
I know what you're talking about. Is it affiliated with Lorenz Tate at all? It's called Bronzeville, I think.
Yeah, I'm late on it. I know everything I'm listening to is old, yeah, but a friend told me that, like, you need to listen to this. You'll like it, so I'm listening to that.
Okay. So let's just get right into it then. All right. So what is the name of your brand?
The name of my brand is Hooligan.
Hooligan. Why Hooligan?
I wanted something that was representation of me and that had a little bit of longevity, and also that was in correlation to streetwear. So for me with a hooligan, it was like always when I think of hooligan, I think of a kid that's kind of like in between. You know what I mean? Like he did some bad stuff, but not enough to be like in jail or be like, oh, you're one of those people. But he's not like necessarily the saint. You know what I mean? And I felt like that was representation of me. Like I've done some things, but I've never had to do anything where my mom had to come get me out of jail or anything. And then
You're a kid, like you did stuff. He's lived.
I've lived. I like that. That should have been lived. But and then just longevity. I feel like a lot of times people think of names because they have already thought of what their business is going to do. If that makes any sense. Like, oh, I'm going to do this with my business. I'm going to do that. And this and the third, and they just come with a name. But longevity is everything. And I feel like somebody 10 years from now can say hooligan and be, okay, cool. But like 10 years from now, and it was like, I don't know.
It's got to stand the test of time. Like, I feel you.
And like the chicken pox brand. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, is that hot now? So I think...
Right. So, is that hot now? Is chickenpox in? Like, I don't know.
Like, I think longevity. So I think that's what the name came up. I was stuck in a room. And I was just like, I need something that's going to stick and that just really speaks for itself.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, I'm with it. So why did you decide to, I guess, start a clothing brand? And I'm going to say brand because if you were to say like a clothing line, you mean that just...
It demeans it. I love you so much for saying brand. I love you so much for brand.
Because it's not just the pieces that you put out, your whole, everything about you is what it is. So
I love that you said that. A lot of people play us to the left. Branding is everything. I say this all the time. I'm a consumer first. Y'all wouldn't believe, like, well, me and you are friends, so you would believe. A lot of people believe, like, I wear a lot of underground stuff that people wear later, or I study, like, when I'm looking at, I've been a consumer before anything. People used to tell me in high school you should make clothes because I like the way you dress. And it's like, and at that time it was crazy. People didn't know I used to draw because that was something I secretly did. Yeah. I used to secretly, like, draw stuff. And, but long story short, it's just, I'm a consumer, so it was like, The reality of it, with my old brand, I needed a job. I needed a source of income. My mother was like, if you can't find a job, make a job. So I called one of my friends. Hey, how do I start graphic design? I self-taught myself how to use the programs, but he helped me start it up, gave me some cracked files so I could actually use the programs in the beginning. And I created a brand, but I always knew that, the components to make a brand and not just make a cool T-shirt. Like I knew you needed to like, I don't even know how to really explain it, but what it is I do, I have to buy it to you. And it was like I just understood that from being a consumer so long, and I think that's kind of like how I was able to flourish.
Okay. See, and that kind of like makes me think back to the question we was talking about reading and stuff like that, and actually sitting down and being able to do it. Like if you were a writer, the best way to become a good writer is to read. So like the best way to be a brand and sell somebody something is to consume it. So I feel you, and I like that, and it's helping me too because I'm learning slowly but surely. Okay, so you're from Chicago. That's where we at right now. Um, how important is where you're from to your brand? Like how do those work together? And do they work together?
In the grand scheme of things, people always say like 9 out of 10 or like this percentage out of 100. It's like 200% out of 100 important to my brand. Like I think what people don't know, and I don't want to get too deep into it because that's probably like another question, but what people don't know, I'm a real life history nut. Like I love history. So a lot of everything I've dropped has so much more meaning to it than what you might have got off the surface. But if you have a conversation with me like, hey, what was this? And you'll be like, wow, it's because I love history. So I like to retell a story. And then I still try to put it in correlations to where I'm from. Like I'm from Inglewood here in Chicago. I'm from the South Side and I'm from Inglewood. I don't necessarily try to make hood wear, but I want to be able to correlate to somebody that was like, yo, I know why Rico made this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what was going on. Like, I have a drop now that it isn't out yet. It doesn't come out to the end of this month.
Okay. By the time this episode comes out, it should be out.
It'll be out. So, yeah. So the drop, the recent drop I'm working on, the guy, it's a Native American holding a buffalo, a cow skull, but I think it's a buffalo skull. I'm not sure what skull it is. Don't make me like I don't know anthropology. Like it's one of the animals. It's the buffalo or the message in the next drop is gonna have my actual zip code 60609. Everybody that lives in my area in that particular zip code. It's the slaughterhouses over there. There's my Latino community that did cattle. It's literally a guy that commented like, I can't wait to see this drop because I grew up having the cattle. You see what I'm saying? So I do a lot of small stuff that is in correlation to Chicago and correlation to my neighborhood all the time.
And I really appreciate that because for me personally, I am not I've never been like into fashion.
I hate fashion, so please, we on the same page.
Fashion or any of that though. Like I've never been like a big consumer of clothes. I just get stuff to put it on and never really thought much about it. And I'm learning how important it is to brand yourself and like care about what you put on because it's a representation of you, yada yada yada. So what I've learned is that
I don't agree with any of that, but I'm listening to you.
these are the things that I've been hearing from other people, and I'm learning. But what you're saying is like it kind of brings the substance behind something that was never really important to me, and it makes me want to purchase it because I know you put like this work, this thought, this strategic like element to it. So I appreciate that you put time into your craft because for people like me who that might not be something that's very, present, it makes me want it to be present.
So what made me a consumer, and I know you probably got another question, so I'm going to speak too long on it. What made me a consumer in streetwear is streetwear really empowers expressive clothing, being expressional. So that's what clothing should be. It should not be uniformic or uniform. I don't even know if uniformic a word. But anyway, it shouldn't be uniform. You should be expressive in what you wear. But streetwear itself, outside of it really endorsing and empowering being expressive, it's this wild thing happening now called hype, and that's why you'll find people that we kind of sound like these snobby OGs, like, oh, I don't wear that no more because everybody wearing it. It's not because of that. It's because the line that was around the corner for Jordans that everybody's like, why are you lining up, is because there was a story. There was a reason this shoe was designed. There was a reason Tinker went into Europe and found the fabric, and he was dead depressed, and then he designed this shoe. That's why we bought the shoe. The shoe, but then it was like, that was like so underground and so like uncommon. Then all of a sudden they realized there was money in telling people like, you need to buy this shoe because these people are going to buy these shoes. And then it became a line. So like this year, whatever Jordan, and it's crazy. I don't even wear these Jordans that come out like that no more. But whatever Jordan's gonna drop in December, somebody somewhere in every store in the city gonna be lines around the corner. It's only like now probably 1,000 people that know exactly why that shoe was important when it was important. So it's like, yeah, like streetwear has always been that. Like it's always been, and I hate that. Like not necessarily just categorizing, but people like you, like, damn, but that's what it was. Like, it wasn't just like the cool kids wearing this cool stuff. It was like, no, we're buying this because this is what happened. This artist made this, or he collabed with Andy Warhol or stuff like that. That's why we bought this shit.
So that's the cool element, not the fact that other people, because everybody else is doing it.
And that's what happened. Hype was like, I got to get it and it's like now Hype made everything lame.
Got you. It's usually what they do. They mess up all the good stuff. That's how I'm definitely like that about music. Yes. Like if an album drops, I don't even listen to it until like it simmers down, and then I'm like, man, this is a dope album, or man, this album's trash. Why is everybody pumping it up or whatever? So, okay, I can relate on a musical level to that. All right. So tell me about the development process as an entrepreneur, because you work for yourself. Tell me about, I guess, that process and how you started versus like where you're at. How has that been being an entrepreneur?
It was very difficult. I would be very honest, because I work a 9 to 5 too now. In the beginning, I was all like, "This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm getting paid. This is what I pay the lights. This is," because we all just think bigger than what it is. It sounds good, like bills don't care about any of that, man. Your personal habits don't care about none of that.
Oh, like I have a certain lifestyle I'm accustomed to.
Thank you. I like steak. You feel me? But I would say patience. And it's crazy. I don't have patience. So, like, whoever gonna listen to this and know me personally, be like, that's a powerful statement. I said, I have zero patience for anything, but it's teaching me patience. It's all patience. I think it's not about how good you are at something, but how dedicated you are to make it something. And I think that's where the entrepreneur come in. It's like everything is not a sellout. Trust me, everything I've made has not been a sellout. I've had things that sold out in an hour, and I thought, like, I'm finna change. I'm changing my number. I don't know nobody no more. Only address me as Suave now.
You're irritating. Your name on my phone is still Rico Suave.
I was gonna say, no, address me as Suave now. Then the next drop, it was like, damn, okay, this is selling very, very slow. And it's like I put my money into this, and you're expecting a drawback or a return. Yeah, you're expecting a return, and you're expecting to pay a bill. You may be expecting to flip it real quick. So it's like patience. I think that's like, and nobody talks about that. It's not an overnight. I don't care who makes it look like that. It's not an overnight. People are not lining up for my stuff now. People are talking about it now, but people are not lining up.
We did talking about it. That's why we doing an interview. But no, I heard it's a common statement, and I'm probably gonna butcher it. They say it takes 9 years to be an overnight success, something like that. Basically saying that it always looks like it happens overnight, but watch, like, when you hit and you making like a living off of your brand, people gonna be like, oh, he just popped out of nowhere. You gonna be like, are you serious? Overnight? It's disrespectful. Okay, so along with that question, what are some of the best lessons that you've learned as an entrepreneur besides being patient? Like actual like maybe like tangible lessons. Like, what did you learn about business? Maybe like things like that. You know what I'm saying? Take time.
ChatterBox. They don't like when I get on my high horse about things like this, but she asked that question.
He's on his high chair right now.
Yeah, I'm really up here too, so I gotta look y'all in the eyes. She asked the wrong question. I say this all the time, I need for my African American people that do a business to stop treating it like a hustle. And that's what I learned. Month one, so it took me 31 days. Month one, I was treating it like a hustle. We might got the understanding on how to make a product, maybe how to sell it, and maybe how to flip the money, but that's not how it go down. The first time I wanted to get into a store, they asked me for a invoice, they asked me for a spreadsheet, and they asked me for, not a spreadsheet, a line sheet, and they asked me for wholesale pricing. I was accustomed to designing a product, getting it, done or whatever, selling it. What the hell is a line sheet? But if you want to get in the store, you need a line sheet. You need to know what a Dun & Bradstreet is. You need to know what an LLC is. So People don't just keep saying, you need to copyright stuff. You don't copyright something.
Copyright, trademarks. There's like all these different elements. Yeah.
Learn the business. And the business part is not just so much of just having documentation that say you own something, but I had to look at it like I tell people all the time. When you go into Macy's to buy something, there's a tag in there. The consumer doesn't always buy a product because it's their favorite product. They buy a product to shit on the next person. You need to know that this is the real Gucci. You need to know that this is really Ralph Lauren. So how do you know this really Hooligan? How you know this really Hooligan if the person pop your tag and no Hooligan tag is in there? Why should I give you $40 and you didn't fold it up and put it in the packaging for me? Why should I pay for anything from you when I get customer service? We treat it like a hustle, though. We got a good idea.
Well, my stuff in the store, we here, we there, but what does that really mean?
What does it really mean? And I think that's what I had to learn. I had to learn on my own. Like don't get me wrong. I've been blessed since I started Hooligan. People buy it. People love it. But I also had to understand that I was doing a lot of my consumers bogus. My first release ever, I sold 20 pieces to New York. I email those people all the time trying to bring them back because I know once they got those shirts, they was like, I'm never giving them my money again. There was no tag in it. The garments wasn't really put together, and I had just put the shirts in the mailing slip and sent it off because I was so used to hustling it off. Like, oh, okay, I got this T-shirt for you. Go crazy.
Here's the product. Here, thank you for the money. Moving on.
It was like now as I'm steady. Every time I release some new Hooligan, here's a discount code just to try to bring some of that revenue back. But it's like you have to understand somebody work. We all work. Somebody worked hard for that money or work hard for the money. They support you on something. They expecting to get treated with something that they could keep having or, a product that's of quality. So I have to learn that business.
That's good. I'm over here listening okay, all right, cool. You said the tag.
I told y'all she asked me the wrong question. I've been telling people this a lot lately.
That's so important, and I find it it's a shame that Black people do this so much too because we're taught to hustle and to grind and don't sleep, don't do we're taught all these things because we have to survive, but at the same time it's okay, now that we're here and we're alive, let's live. Let's make it worth being here. So putting out products and services that are of high quality are super important. And I think being a patron of each other's businesses too and not skimp it, trying to
Everybody try to low price me and I'm so past that.
Yeah. It's just not fair. How you supposed to eat? Cause you are friends with everybody.
Yeah, people have me doing drop-offs, and I'll just stop doing it. And I'm like, y'all not even giving me the gas. Y'all just giving me y'all just giving me the money for the price.
And some, you saying something? Don't get me started, cause I'm about to get on my high horse next. All right. So you just talked about dropping off stuff on your own, doing that stuff. What other things have you faced that you've overcome? Because
I faced a lot of stuff, so we could move it to something that a creative would understand. Timing. My industry is about a lot of timing. I think I'm getting good at it. Oh, Coco, I think I'm getting good at it. Oh, I make clothing. Check this out. You know it's a hot day to drop a new line for somebody that's not in my industry? Oh, you got to do it Black Friday. Why? Why would I do it Black Friday?
Because everybody's going to be consuming that day.
Everybody, that's what people will say, right? But as somebody that's an entrepreneur and young in the business, that's the worst day. Everything's on sale. Why would somebody give me full price for a $40 T-shirt and they can go to their favorite boutique and get it for $25? Timing's the game. Some of your biggest stores in your city or competitors or, I don't know, just to throw a blank name out, Supreme is dropping their Lacoste release on Thursday. That might have been your release date. Like I tell people all the time when I crack jokes with the homies, making clothes is like making an album. Like, oh shit, Drake dropping Friday. I gotta push mine back. Everybody gonna listen to Drake. Everybody finna buy the new Supreme. Everybody's finna be at that store.
Right. You're not finna buy something from them.
Right, and then for me, and I'm giving away a secret, I think deeply. I think about the average Joe. So if everybody's definitely gonna be spending on Black Friday, that next week, nobody's spending nothing because they ain't getting paid that week. And it's going to be the first of the month. Rent just dropped. And they got to get ready for Christmas. People have asked me all the time, Rico, why you never drop nothing in December? It's Christmas. Why am I wasting my time? I know people got other things to pay for. I'll meet y'all at the top of the year. So if people ever notice, every December I say, happy holidays. I'll make a post to y'all next year. You got to understand timing in this game.
Wait till them refunds come back. Wait till the college, everything.
Refunds, everybody spending. Oh, man, let me get everything you got.
People be balling. I remember it like an idiot. Like, ooh, I'm rich. No, you about to be broke. But okay, timing is everything.
Timing is everything. Like, I can't stress that enough. And people that are in the industry, or even like what you're doing with the podcast, it's like, damn, that's that new Drink Traps day. Let me wait. Because it's like people are not listening to two things at once. People are not buying, and money's not out there like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of like why I'm doing like the visual thing too, because like
We love watching.
I got a short attention span. I don't want to listen to something all day long, and if I don't want to listen to it to edit it, I definitely don't want to listen to it after that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm understanding that too. What is your main goal with your career? It's kind of a big question.
It's not a big question. I've never done anything without an end game. So my biggest goal for Hooligan has always been to create a boutique that's a creative space. The store we sitting in today, right now, to do this interview is Leaders 1354. It inspired me to make clothes.
Staple
Staple in Chicago. You feel me? It inspired me to make clothes, to buy clothes. It changed my whole wardrobe in high school. This hat I have on, Sir Madam, I remember when they were soulmates. Another store that changed everything for me. So my end game is to have a place, a creative space, because there's not many of them. Like, oh, I do this cool stuff, and this was a store you can sit in all day. Pick up on game, you learn about something, you study something. Like, this was my Google for a paper. Like, I could sit in Leaders and see products, see items, see garments, and then be like, that shit hot. And then at one point, Leaders carried so many different brands at one point. I don't remember the exact number. I don't want to say it, that Corey cursed me out later. But at one point, they was carrying so much underground stuff. And we all know that time, it was like you would just walk in the store and see things and be like, wow.
and the way it feels in here too, it kind of reminds me of like being in a barber shop. So it's got like that element, but they're not cutting hair. That's just the only difference. And I think that that's important to be in any community too. That whole like use like free game. Everybody just kind of hanging out.
And you never know who you're talking to. Korean and met so many people.
Yeah, just like in 5 minutes. Like I came in, set up, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. This is where we at with it. So what do you want to do for the community?
Everybody from my block thought I hooped in high school.
Just because you tall.
Because I'm tall and I'm really good at basketball. A lot of people don't know that. So people thought I hooped. Or they thought I was some type of sport nut. They knew I was smart. Nobody thinks I'm stupid. So they thought I was smart, but they was just like, oh, Rico definitely went to Kenwood because he hooping. Because the school I should have been at was either Robeson or Tilden. So, yeah, so they either thought I was hooping. That's the only reason I went to Kenwood for hooping. And then my little brother, he's really good at drawing, but he does tattoos now. But everything is like a spring up on people. Like, they like, oh, shit, you do that? Guess what? I do that. I do this as well, or I do that. So I just feel like, not saying that it's not, not saying that it's not vocalized now, because it's a little more common if somebody to be a creative. Yeah, think about it. In 2009, when I was in high school and all that, it was not, nobody.
Like real strict career.
Nobody was saying like, hey, I want to do this. So I think, but I know people that you wouldn't believe are great painters, great poets, great videographers. It's like, man, we need to really, that's another conversation, but we really need to hone in on our videographers in Chicago. They changing the game. Man,
I'm gonna say we're gonna talk about this after.
Yeah, they changing the game. But videographers, painters, artists, tattoo artists. I love everything that's going on in Pilsen. But just long story short, like, it's needed for my black people and it's needed in our community because we all got that mom that's telling you to be something, and some of us are equipped to be something. It took my mom a minute to understand, like, my son has a knack for something. Then she was like, my son has a skill for something.
And it's not going to look like anything you've ever seen.
And she was like, oh, shit, my son is really good at something. You know what I mean? It was like, y'all don't even know. I was supposed to be a lawyer. Dude. I was like...
I was supposed to be a marine biologist.
Yeah, like, my parents was like, lawyer. And then it was like, oh, shit, okay, you good at something. Like, my dad's still trying to figure it out. My biologist guy, he's still trying to figure out, like, what is it my son do? But he's always running into people that's like, hey, I know Rico, and I know this brand, and it throws him off all the time. Like,
wow. He like, oh, okay, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna let him move a little bit, see what he doing. Yeah. I think that's like that generation is just very traditional. Like, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, teacher. It's very.
Yeah, they come from the worker bees. The older generation before them was all about just getting a job to keep the food on the table. Then they was pushed to get a better job, and then it was pushed on us. And it's like, no, we're a generation full of creatives.
I'm not gonna be in this job and be miserable. It's a dub. It's a dub on that. But okay, I hear what you're saying. So it is important for the community. Yeah. Okay.
Because we don't have it.
No, at all. And especially because, like, we're the trailblazers for our generation and things like that. Like, the people who come after us are going to be so set up. They're going to be so set up in this industry. Like, it is important for us to lay that platform. So I guess what can your supporters expect from you? You talked about the drop. So this would be, I think this episode will come out before the drop does. But in the future, I guess more long term, what can they expect from you?
You guys, I've been sitting back and I'm studying how to do better marketing. So I'm trying to do, I haven't perfected it yet, so I don't want to speak on it yet, but I'm trying to do a better way of marketing each release because I want to reduce pop-ups and do maybe one or two installation. Me personally, I feel like the word pop-up and pop-ups are getting watered down.
The hypes, man.
I like that. Because people, I'm talking to people, they're like, you crazy, man. You gotta do a pop-up all the time. Like,
No, it's like that's cool, but it's like I want to be relevant forever.
right, and the consumer is starting to expect an experience when they come someplace. Experience costs this much money.
Bruh, bread, your bread.
You feel me? It costs a lot of money, so it's like I just want to do a better way of marketing that'll draw engagement or draw in new customers. So I'm working on marketing, something that when I say visual, I mean like y'all wouldn't know. Like I'm talking outside. Look at Rico,
Okay. Billboards, park benches.
something like that, and then just bringing more unity amongst. I hope I say this right, but more unity amongst the peers in my industry here in Chicago. I've said it in a lot of interviews, and I'm gonna keep saying it, but I'm gonna be honest. I don't keep up with the person next to me. I support the person next to me. Shout out to Rich Soul. Shout out to Entitled, Stu, Walking Canvas, Dead Roses. The list goes on. Like shout out to a lot of brands that I've bought something from. I retweet. I keep up with, but I honestly don't keep up with Chicago streetwear because I'm a consumer. I look at every city, so I miss stuff. But I think that this city, when I look at other people, we're the ones that's most divided. Other cities, they are down with each other.
That's across the board in a creative space, like clothing, music, like so divided, and we need to work together because there's so much talent.
You see what I'm saying? So I want to be one of those people that when they bring up my name, like, no, Suave was on something like we all working together because I'm not competing with you guys. My biggest thing is like, there's no way I can make clothes for everybody. I've never went into Macy's and they was like, this is the only brand here. So I don't know why Chicago's on this. I gotta be number one. I gotta be that's impossible. People wear business wear. I'm never making ties and shit. People wear casual. People think what I make is too provocative and explicit sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to please that. I'm making a certain product. You know what I mean? But I don't see the issue where people can't realize like all brands can flourish. I just want to bring unity.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like that. I don't know why people think that it has to be one.
Yeah. It's a Chicago thing. It's a Chicago thing. Everybody got to be number one here.
And you can in your space. You can do that. Everybody can be number one. Like you don't. It's not the same market. You gotta pray for people. All right. So I'm gonna do kind of like a lightning round to close out. It's completely irrelevant question.
I wasn't even ready for it to end so fast, so she cheated me on questions. I thought it was gonna be a lot more.
Hey, anything else you got to say? Please say, because they need to know. That's the whole reason why we're doing this. But just some like whatever questions. So, what is your favorite color?
My favorite color? I said earth green the other day, and Marissa told me that wasn't a real color, but I feel like earth green is a real color.
When you say earth green, I think of grass.
Earth green, because I don't want to say olive, because it's a little bit darker than olive.
Because what is this? This is olive green?
It's like an olive, I guess. I don't know. Whatever I'll say this. If earth tones is a thing, if people know what earth tones is, why can't it be an earth green?
Touche. All right. Gum or mints?
Government?
Gum or mints?
I like some gums over mints, but I like mints over gum. So
then the answer would be mints in this case.
I don't know.
Anyways, summer, fall, spring, or winter?
I gotta pick, because I'm a spring, fall person. I'm jacket god.
Okay, so like the almost seasons.
Yeah, I'm a jacket god. Yeah, I'm a jacket god. People know this.
Okay. The moon or the sun?
The moon.
Same. Birthday dinner or a party?
Birthday dinner.
Favorite music genre?
My favorite music genre, the Dusties. I don't know what genre that is, but the Dusty.
Dusties, okay. Those who know, real ones know.
Soul.
Excuse me, sir, that'll be soul. Your favorite sneaker brand?
My favorite sneaker brand? I don't have a favorite sneaker brand.
Ooh, the cop out.
I don't.
Which one do you find yourself wearing a lot?
I got a lot of everything. I really don't have a favorite sneaker brand. The brands, because I would say this. The brands have never been my favorite because the styles is what I pay attention to. You never know, like, it's a brand that's probably not even popular, but if I like the style or silhouette of that shoe, I'm copping it, yeah, so it's like a style.
That's fair, that's fair. I guess you could answer that question that way because of your whole, like, thing. Yeah. So, whatever, fine. Anyway, that is all today. Again, my name is Coco. I'm here with Rico Suave.
There we go. Don't say my gov.
Thank you for talking with me today. I appreciate it.
Appreciate doing this. This was really awesome.
Oh, sorry.